Good evening and welcome to the City of Pasco Council regular meeting of Monday, May 5th, 2025. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Thank you for all in attendance. Before we even get to it, I'm certain the city had a wonderful festivity this weekend. I apologize I wasn't able to be here. I had a wonderful benefit of being in Spokane on a work trip. I know that's the great municipality just north of us, where I brought back a bit of exhaustion and a bout of the gout. So TMI, I'm sure, but that's what Spokane has to offer, not like Pasco, culture and excitement. So we do thank you for being a part of our city government here. The agenda packets are available either online for anyone who's following along, anyone who's here. There is a small table immediately to the right as you walk in with a sign that says agendas with an arrow pointing at the agendas. The meeting is also televised live on PSC-TV channel 191 on Spectrum in both Pasco and Richland. It's also streamed on the city's Facebook page, its YouTube channel, and via Microsoft Teams. This and previous council meeting video is available on the city's website. The public may submit their comments either through the Ask Pasco app or through the city manager or city clerk's office. With that, Ms. Clerk.
Councilmember Blaisdell.
Here.
Grimm.
Here.
Harpster.
Present.
Perales.
Here.
Milne.
Present.
Serrano.
I am here.
And Barajas is not here. We have 6 council members present.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think. I don't recall Ms. Barajas asking to be excused or letting us know she's going to be joining online. Do we see her online?
Don't, but she did accept the meeting, so it's possible that she's going to log on.
Well, for now, we'll play it by ear. She can be excused or unexcused, and we'll go from there. But I do. If I missed it, I apologize, Blanche. With that, if you'll stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. You may be seated. So, for anyone following along, that slides us into item number 4, which is our consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council, will be enacted by a singular motion as it's listed on the agenda. There will be no separate discussion of these items, but if separate discussion is desired by council, they can make that known now and seek to remove an item from the consent to the regular agenda. So before we roll through, any council members asking to move anything from the consent? Excuse me, seeing nobody's mic on, I'll roll through. Item A, the approval of meeting minutes from April 21st and 28th, 2025. Item B, bills and communications approving claims in the total amount of $6,502,775.89. Ordinance number 4766, request for zoning code text amendment. And I will note for council and for the public's enlightenment, we did get an updated packet about an hour and 45 minutes ago. They modified one quick thing that wasn't caught in the prior uploaded document, which is the striking of the C2 zone from these from the limitations on this, as I think Mr. Perales had advanced in our last meeting. Okay, and he has no comment, or he was good with that, he said. And we got Ms. Perales. So with that, we've got item D, resolution number 4595, West Pasco Water Treatment Plant Phases 3 and 4 Professional Services Agreement Acceptance. And finally, item E, which is resolution number 4596, Project Acceptance for the Fire Station number 85 site work. That's Road 100 and Maple Drive improvements, that project. Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor and a second by Ms. Blaisdell. But before we get there, Ms. Barajas, did you have a request to remove anything from the consent agenda? No? Okay. Then, Ms. Clerk, if you can roll call us.
Councilmember Blaisdell.
Yes.
Grimm.
Yes.
Harpster.
Yes.
Perales.
Yes.
Barajas.
Yes.
Milne.
Yes.
And Serrano.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. That rules us on to number 5, which is our proclamation acknowledgements. I'll note that we have 3 such proclamations tonight. So, typically what we do is I read it, hand it out, and do a photo op. I think we'll go ahead and stay with that procedure. It just maybe a little cumbersome with all the folks in the audience, which is great to see, just to be clear. Just maybe a lot of shuffling. So the first is the proclaiming May 2025 as Asian American Pacific Islander and Heritage Month. So again, the folks representing that community, if you can, I guess, I'll read it. Usually I read it and there's like one person at the mic, but again, I know there's a lot of folks for each one of these proclamations. Let's go ahead and do this. Why don't I slide to that mic and have the folks representing the Asian Island Pacific Islander Heritage Month acceptance slide over to this side. You can take your photos while we do that, and then if you want to say a couple words, let's do that, okay? So I'm going to come down to this mic, and if folks can line up that way if you want some photos, we can go there, okay? Hopefully this makes for a decent shot. So, whereas Asian American Island and Pacific Islander or AAPI Heritage Month is a time to recognize the contributions and achievements of Asian Americans and from Asians from across the Asian continent, native Hawaii and Pacific Island descent. Whereas the United States Asian Pacific Heritage Week was first celebrated in 1979 and was extended to AAPI Month, Heritage Month in 1992. Whereas the month of May was chosen as an Asian Pacific American Heritage Month to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese citizen, Nakahama Manahiro, to the United States on May 7th, 1843, but also the anniversary of May 10th, 1869, completion of the first transcontinental railroad, built in part with the back-breaking labor of nearly 20,000 Chinese immigrants. And whereas today more than 20 million AAPI members live in the United States, whereas we celebrate their achievements and contributions which enrich our history, society, and culture through language and religions and make our communities more vibrant, prosperous, and secure. During AAPI Heritage Month, we acknowledge the additional determination, hard work, and perseverance AAPI put forth to be seen and to be heard. Whereas the 2025 theme is a legacy of leadership and resilience, and honors the hard work of AAPI leaders who established the foundation for future generations to thrive and adapt to change and adversity. Now therefore, I, Pete Serrano, Mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, do hereby proclaim May 1st through May 31st, 2025 as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Thank you. Thank you. And we can do some pictures, I don't know, and then if you have someone designated to speak. If not, I mean, we can keep. No,
I can say, I'll sit
that
forward.
works. Yeah. Do you want? Let's do a quick photo and maybe take a couple. Whoever wants to get around here. Yeah, absolutely. Council, slide down in. I don't know. You can hide or stay.
Squeeze in just.
Yeah. If we need to do 2 levels on top of those 2 levels, that's fine. We good? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks. All right, Scott, go ahead.
All right.
Take the mic, man.
All right, Mayor Serrano, members of the council, thank you for that this evening and for that recognition. Lived in Pasco myself for 20 plus years, And an interesting fact, I serve on the Commission for Asian Pacific American Affairs, or CAPA, for Washington State. And you have, out of 12 commissioners in this state representing that commission, also David Fongsa here is Lao American and serves on that council. So you have 2 of the 12 commissioners for the state in the city of Pasco. So continuing to celebrate our diversity. As you can see, there's a lot of people here that came to support this. We have a lot of different ethnicities and heritages in the Asian Pacific Islander community, both in Pasco and our state, and it's just an honor to celebrate those differences. Me and myself, my mother is Japanese American. I've told this story a few times, but she grew up 10 miles from the Minidoka internment camp in the 1950s. So celebrating her culture of being Japanese American was not celebrated. Her parents spoke Japanese, did not teach any of the 5 kids a lick of Japanese or a word. So it's awesome to see how far we've come, both in our community, in our state, in our nation, to be able to celebrate our differences and our cultures like this. So I appreciate you guys doing this, and thank you.
Thank you. That'll move us along to the second one, unless you had anyone else designated, Mr. Lehrman. I don't believe so. Okay. Thank you all. You're welcome to stick around or whatever you choose at this point. The next one is going to be National Police Week, and I'll have, again, let's do the same thing where the police line up on this side, and I'll be at the mic, and then we'll do that. First, I got to thank you for the cars. My kids will play with them and ruin them in probably the first 5 minutes, assuming tonight doesn't go too long. Maybe it'll last the part of tomorrow. Sorry about that. So, National Police Week, May 11th through 17th, 2025. Whereas the City of Pasco Police plays an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the residents of the City of Pasco. Whereas it is important that all residents know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their police. Whereas the City of Pasco Police recognizes their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. Whereas the men and women of the City of Pasco Police unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Pete Serrano, the mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, call upon all residents of the City of Pasco and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 11th through 17th, 2025 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observations by which all of our residents may join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and securities for all residents. Further, I call upon all residents of the City of Pasco to observe Thursday, May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in sacrificing to their service to their community, or have become disabled in the performance of the duty. Let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Chief, police members, thank you very much for your service to our community. And we'll do the photo op wherever you guys want me, and then council can slide it back. Do you want me hiding? Here, I'll just off a bit. Chief, yeah, turn it. Yeah, who am I giving it to? I'm guessing you, right? So then maybe, here, there we go.
One, two, three. Perfect.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. Now you guys can go back to work. I know that's what you really wanted to do. Make sure my car's there. I'll just speak from this podium because we got a rolling camera. So our third and final proclamation is National Military Appreciation Month. And the individual accepting this will be Kelsey Lato, but a handful of folks are going to be coming up here to accept this as a collective group. Yeah, it's and I do think we should also recognize members on staff and on council who are veterans. Mr. Harpster and Mr. Zabel and Miss Barajas and Mr. Milne, thank you for your sons and daughters' service to our country. So, and if I miss someone, tell me that I'm wrong. But no, seriously, we appreciate everything you do. We appreciate what you represent, the greatness of our community. So, National Military Appreciation Month. Whereas the United States Congress designated May as National Military Appreciation Month in 1999 to honor the sacrifices and successes of current and former members of the United States Armed Forces, and to provide an opportunity for communities across the country to honor the unwavering service, sacrifice, and dedication of our military personnel, veterans, and their families. Whereas the strength and security of the United States depends on the commitment and courage of the brave men and women who serve in the armed forces, defending our nation and its values both at home and abroad. Whereas the residents of Pasco, Washington have a deep appreciation for the dedication and sacrifices made by the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, including those who have given their lives in the pursuit of freedom and peace. Whereas the city of Pasco is proud to stand in support of our military heroes, including the many veterans and active duty members who call our community home, and recognizes their service as a vital part of our shared history and future. Whereas it is our duty to honor our duty and honor to acknowledge the steadfast courage and commitment of our armed forces, and to express our heartfelt gratitude for their role in safeguarding the freedoms we cherish. Now therefore, I, Pete Serrano, Mayor of the City of Pasco, Washington, do hereby proclaim May 1st through May 31st, 2025 as National Military Appreciation Month in the City of Pasco, and encourage all residents to join me in honoring and expressing gratitude to our service members, veterans, and to their families for their selfless service and dedication to our country. God bless you, and thank you for your service. Awesome. Thank you very much. Whoops. Here, there we go. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, how are you guys? And let's not forget Commissioner Powell. Just like that. Sorry about that. Yeah. You can't hide. Here, we'll gap it. Here, I'll kind of hide. Yeah, however you guys want to do it.
Yeah, you gotta at least stand up, Dave. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and call for a 5-minute recess in case folks needed more photos or anything of that nature. It's 7:20. We'll rejoin at 7:25. So, again, if you need either congregate in the hallway and what have you, take 5. Thank you, folks, for that brief recess. It's now 7:25. We are back in session. That rolls us along to item number 6, which is public comments. The public may address council on items unless it relates to a scheduled public hearing. And I slow down there because we do have a public hearing scheduled for item 8. It's item 8A, the single item under 8. So, excuse me. If you wish to speak on item 8, please hold comments in relation to that until that time, at which I'll direct you that you'll have 2 minutes and we'll go from there. Unless it addresses a public hearing. The purpose for this public comment is not to seek a debate with council or seek immediate answers to questions, as some questions require research and information from outside sources, from staff, and further contemplation by City Council. Citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes. I'll be tracking that, and our Deputy City Clerk will be monitoring that. Those with lengthy messages are invited to summarize those comments or submit written information, either for council consideration outside of formal meetings to the City Clerk or through the Ask Pasco app or through the City Manager's office. Lastly, when you're called upon, if you can state your name and county of residence, that would be helpful. So with that is now your floor for public comments. Go ahead. I see a hand up. You're on.
Hi, my name is Amber Wade. Tonight, a few neighbors have joined me in support. Please raise your hand for those supporting the Sands Mobile Home Park here tonight. Dear council members, Becky was the first resident to move into the Sands Mobile Home Park nearly 55 years ago. Her home was the very first one placed here. She's lived through decades of change, management, turnover, rising rent, shifting problems, and through it all, she stayed. Becky is quiet, she keeps to herself, she doesn't speak out often, but she has always given to this community in quiet ways that matter. She's donated toys for children during the holidays, she's helped pick up boxes for park events, she's made sure that others had what they needed even when no one was watching. This year she came out for our Easter egg hunt. That's the kind of neighbor she is. And now, after more than 5 decades, Becky is moving. She lives on fixed income, rent, utilities, garbage, sewer, and billing fees total $711.25. That's 65% of her income just to stay in her home. But it's not just the money that's driving her out, it's the constant breakdowns. It's the silence when she asks for help and the fear that nothing's going to get better. Becky uses a swamp cooler to survive our summers. That cooler needs water 24/7 to function. When the water pressure drops and her tank doesn't fill, if it runs dry, the motors can run out or burn out. That's not a small thing. It's her only way to stay cool, and she can't afford to fix it if it gets broken. She's not alone. I've had the same issues. Other residents have too. We made calls, sent emails, reported the problems, and the response, absolutely nothing. The same cycle, report, wait, silence. Meanwhile, I've shared stories from across the state, Walla Walla residents facing a 44% rent increase, a $5.5 million settlement in another park. Those stories made headlines, those people were heard, but our story hasn't made the news, and we ask, how are we supposed to advocate for ourselves when no one hears us? Becky has nothing left to lose, and that's why she's allowing her story to be shared. I printed this statement, Becky read it, and signed it to give me full permission on her behalf. She hopes that her truth will help protect those of us who are still here. We want to stay. We want to live in peace. We don't want our homes to be put up for sale after 55 years of living here. And that's not what Becky deserves. But this shouldn't fall on her. It shouldn't fall on me. It shouldn't fall on anyone just trying to live in peace and dignity. We need help. We need good water. We need constant pressure that doesn't damage our appliances we depend on. We need answers, not voicemails, not delay. We need someone to see what's happening before one more people like Becky are forced to leave. Please don't let Becky's departure go unnoticed. She may be soft-spoken, but her story is strong, and it matters. To Becky, thank you for the quiet things, for showing up, for holding this community together in ways most people never saw. You're part of what has made this mobile home park a home. Thank you. And please, we shouldn't have to put our homes up for sale, please.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you for showing support. Do I have any additional public comment? Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not used to public speaking. This is my first time, actually. But I met Amber, and I have met a few of the residents of the park, and they are good people that really do not deserve the things that they are experiencing right now. They have many problems, some of them with the water, some of them with the rent being raised. One of them says that the rent was raised twice this year already, or within a year. So they cannot pay for that. I mean, like they say, it would be different if we see that at least the people there are fixing things and you see improvements. But that's not the case at all. These people are in dire need of help. And I'm not even sure from whom. So that's why I am lending my support to them, because I was also very impressed on how united these people are. I mean, I came from California a few years ago to Pasco, and I love the city. I never expected to witness a third world problem here. The trickling of that water, if someone else in another home is using their water, one of the other people cannot shower. They cannot fill up a pot to make spaghetti because it really trickles. I witnessed this even just today. It's not fair. It's not nice. They should not be living in these conditions. I my heart breaks for them because it's not something that I'm used to seeing in the United States of America. This should not be happening to these people. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any additional public comments? Let's see someone in the back. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Wilson, Franklin County. Thanks for your time tonight. I'd like to thank the mayor for stopping into the county commissioner's office last week, extending a little bit of diplomacy, which is the better part of tact from what I understand. I'm not too familiar. Thanks for doing that though, because they could use that help, if you ask me. I'd like to address something that I noticed on Friday. It was 5 o'clock. Was taking my wife to urgent care. There was some folks, I was going to Sandifer heading east from Westminster. There was a couple people, looked like a mom, maybe a teenage daughter riding a bike in what would be a bike lane, but there isn't one. In front of me was a big diesel, extended tires, rolled coal on these people. And it disrupted, their travel. They almost went into the street. They were upset. They hollered, and so I thought I would address that. I don't know what sort of ordinances we have addressing exhaust. I guess I don't know. I don't know what we have. I know it's a problem. I know it can be a bigger problem if we let it get to be a bigger problem. It's getting too crowded for that. I would rather see people riding bikes as a family in my neighborhood than somebody victimizing other people. Those are the people I want as neighbors. So, with my remaining time, I know I don't have time to go to the county commissioners and state my piece. So I'm coming here to the city of Pasco. I would like to encourage my neighbors, all the people out there in the community, take a look at what's going on in our county. It's not right that the commissioners have finally taken full control of the county commission, of the courthouse, and now they are attacking the sheriff from my point of view. I urge you, community, go ahead and take a look at that. It's been going on for too long. There's been too much apathy. There's been too much, not me. Take a look, please. It's a disaster. Those bullies need to be taken care of. Get them out of there. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comments? Go ahead, Ms. Mahoney.
Mary Mahoney, Pasco resident, to Pasco via RCW 42.56, provide the permit that allowed Pasco and Hayden Homes to kill our 8 floodplain American bald eagles and eaglets. Next, regarding Pasco's Aquatic Center, provide the total cost of ex-Pasco Mayor Matt Watkins' monthly payments of $10,992 plus his travel expenses. He got a raise. And a total cost of the Wow Factor wave machine costing anywhere from $22 million to $280 million. Note, Yakima's Aquatic Center opens in June for a total cost of $10.8 million. Provide a permit number 404 that allows Pasco to develop our floodplain, including the Riverview East Sewer. Resolution 4582. The Road 48 Central Pasco Community Park and the destruction of our wildlife habitat and more. Regarding my Pasco home, provide all past and present LID and new LID designs, include start dates, costs, and all Pasco officials' communications regarding harassment and retaliation to me. See Pasco City Council 4119 with City Attorney Lee Kerr's authorization of no due process at animal control and more. Mr. Kerr's no due process results in lawless seizures of family dogs that are killed and or sent to WSU for research and for harvesting of body parts. See files for Belle, Jake, and Kilo, and over 30 years of WSU records with animal control bunchers Ben Zegan and Angela Zeiler for a complete list of animal bunchers and bogus animal rescues that also sell dogs and cats to WSU. Call WSU President and Paul Allen's Dr. Palmer, 509-335-4200. Provide Animal Control Zegan-Zeiler's Animal Welfare Act certification for humane euthanasia training to prevent further botched euthanasias that Animal Control calls, quote, popcorning the dogs and cats, end quote, or also called a violent and painful way to die. Provide the following: total cost and itemization for Animal Control's new building, include payments to Angela Zeiler, TCAS's permit and insurance to operate as an animal research provider, Pasco's cat bonds, results for 48 counts of animal cruelty, theft of $375,000, the missing rainy day fund, see Chambers, Howard, Hernandez, and Zeiler. At a total cost for the GMP consultants with Dave Zabel, Pasco's CIP budget is over $500 million with not any money going for a homeless shelter for people and no funds for a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for dogs and cats and more. For questions, call Lee Kerr, 509-735-1542. My comments are for the record and to put Pasco on notice.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comment? Going once? Going twice? Final call for public comment. With that, public comment is closed. We're going to move on to item number 7, which is reports from committees or officers. Do we have any reports from our council members? Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Cinco de Mayo Festival downtown in Pasco on Saturday, and I would like to commend Councilwoman Blaisdell, who did an excellent job on your behalf kicking off the ceremony. I'd also likewise like to commend Director Rice and all of his staff and team, who really did a great job running the event, and also his outreach to stakeholders in the community like the LBA and others, giving them a seat at the table in really organizing and planning the event. So really it was really great to see the community out. My family spent a few hours down there eating from vendors and going from booth to booth, and of course participating in the parade. And as Pasco's signature event, I just thought it was very well done on all accounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Mr. Herbster.
Yes, I did attend the Lord's Hospital Board of Trustees meeting, and then on Friday attended a fundraiser for Mere Ministries along with Senator Nikki Torres, Commissioner Steve Bauman, and Port Commissioner Vicki Gordon. Mere Ministries' goal is to provide services and support for victims of trafficking in our area, and $40,000 was raised that evening. Their goal, if I recall correctly, was $30,000, so that was awesome to see. And then lastly, it wasn't necessarily an event that I attended, but Friday was rolling through downtown Pasco on my bike, as I do, and the new parklet outside the Pasco Specialty Kitchen was completely full with, it looked like at least half dozen people or so waiting for seats to open up. So that was really cool to see riding through there. So thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Harpster. Seeing no further lights, sounds like Miss Blaisdell was a wonderful MC, so thank you for standing in my place. Hopefully no one walked away with gout from here. Get your light on purpose? Okay. Just want to make sure that you didn't have anything to circle back to. So thank you all for your involvement this week. And certainly thank you to staff for the bang-up job you always do. With that, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is hearings and council action on ordinances and resolutions relating thereto. This is a public hearing. When appropriate, I will open it. We'll kick it off with a report from staff, then I can ask for questions from council, then we'll open the public hearing, and at that time you will have up to 2 minutes for comments. So if we can track that, that'd be helpful. So item A is public hearing and resolution on number 4597, 2025 to 2030 6-year transportation improvement program revision. And that's from Director Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Tonight we are looking again one more time to the last year's approved transportation improvement program. There were a few revisions proposed. And so tonight is the public hearing for it. So a quick overview of what were the revisions proposed that we hope to hear the public speak about and hopefully have action later tonight. Next slide, please. So if you remember, the last approved transportation improvement plan, so the one that extends between 2025 and 2030, included 43 projects, 3 programs, and 5 studies. In those 43 projects is where the revisions have been proposed. There's the inclusion of 2 new projects and the division of 1 existing project into 2 segments. Next slide, please. Those projects are listed in the screen. So the project that has been divided into 2 segments is the Burns Road Extension Missing Link, to be divided into a roadway extension and an intersection improvement. Number 2 is the project that was added, which is the Harris Road realignment. This project will allow for the realignment of Harris Road to eliminate the connection to Broadmoor. And I have some slides that show what those look like. And then number 3 is the Court Street and Road 100 intersection improvements, where we discuss the potential for a new control system, whether it is a signal or a roundabout would be part of the definition that occurs while the project is in design. And these projects in the plan are shown with plan grants and with funding through transportation impact fees. So a combination of grant funding and local funds. So going into a little bit more detail on each of these modifications to the existing approved plan. As I mentioned, the Burns Road Extension Missing Link has now been divided into 2 projects to accommodate the different work that will occur as part of extension of a road versus the intersection improvements that are planned for Burns Road and Road 68. This does not translate into a change in the total dollar amount for the project. It just has been divided into 2. There were some benefits we discussed last week related to having this division, where the existing intersection is likely to be more attractive for grant funding versus the extension of a link that does not exist today. Next slide, please. Harris Road realignment, as I was mentioning in earlier slides, would eliminate the connection of Harris Road to Broadmoor Boulevard south of Sandifer, and instead it would straighten the alignment to allow for the connection to Sandifer Parkway. This way we eliminate some uncontrolled left turns, which are difficult and will become more difficult with increase volumes in the Burns Road corridor. It also allows for the network to be strengthened on the parallel roads to Burns Road, creating more of a network. Next slide, please. And finally, Court Street and Road 100. This was a project that had been identified as a potential inclusion last year. It had not been added, but further analysis indicates that as development occurs and there is growth, improvement for this intersection will become necessary. Including these projects in the program will allow for them to be part of the list of projects to be included in the transportation impact fee, and therefore it is prudent to propose the revision of the plan to be included and have a mechanism for funding for these. Next slide. So what you're seeing here, and again the slide is small, but it's just to indicate how in white and blue you're seeing what is the projects, 43 of them. Now that it has been extended. Project number 6 has been divided into 6A and 6B, and those are highlighted in orange. And then there are the two new projects are added at the bottom of the blue and white list in the project side. Then in green, you're seeing the programs, and then in golden color at the bottom are the studies, and those have been not changed at all from last year. Next slide. Okay, and finally, the statutory framework for these revisions. The Council approves yearly a transportation improvement program, but revisions are allowed with a majority vote, but they require a public hearing. So tonight, we are here to do a public hearing prior to the potential incorporation of these revisions to your program. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Mr. Prowse.
Thank you, Mayor. The only question I had was, remember, a couple meetings ago, I asked about the Road 44. Is that just under the pedestrian/bike gaps?
So in last year's plan, the idea was to have it there. We have taken your comment, and it's going to be incorporated in our 2026-2031 transportation improvement plan, which is the process that is now out with public outreach. So this is the revision of last year's, but it's not the annual update to your plan. So that is planned to be incorporated as a standalone project in the 2026 to 2031 plan, and that is forthcoming. We have outreach this Wednesday during midday, so it's 11:30 to 1:30 if people want to participate, and we have an online form for additional comments, and we anticipate a public hearing on that next plan on the 19th of May. So two separate processes. They look very similar. I'm glad you asked the question because it allows me to actually clarify the difference between the two processes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then why is there a motion today? I guess I was kind of confused about that because I looked at the schedule, and we're not supposed to adopt this until July.
Right. So the program that is being adopted before July is the 2026 to 2031.
Okay.
The document that we're looking at today is last year's document, 25 to 2030, and we're modifying it before the end of the period.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prowse. Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give kudos where kudos deserve. I know years ago I went out with Mr. Zabel and we looked at the Broadmoor area and talked about different things affecting my district. And then, of course, there was like a huge silence. Didn't see it. But now it's here. And again, so thank you for doing the hard work, getting this on there. And again, I can say it's very much appreciated. And hopefully eventually we'll get the money and get this stuff done. But I think it would be very good for traffic concerns, for speeding, and then also for safety. So again, thank you. I know I don't say thank you enough, but I really appreciate this. So thanks again.
Well, thank you, Mr. Milne. Seeing no further lights, I'm going to now open the public hearing portion. Again, comments will be limited to this singular item. Again, the adoption of 2025 to 2030 6-year transportation improvement program revision. We are going to limit it to 2 minutes following the clock. So with that, the public hearing is now open. Do we have any public comments? Going once? Going twice? Going a third time? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 4597, revising the 2025-2030 6-year transportation improvement program for the City of Pasco for the purpose of guiding the development, design, and construction of local and regional transportation improvements, and further authorize publication by summary only.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Milne, a second by Ms. Blaisdell. Let's see, this is public hearing. Let's go ahead and let's do a roll call, Miss Deputy Clerk. Sorry to catch you off guard there.
Barajas,
Yes.
Blaisdell,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Harpster,
Yes.
Perales.
Yes.
Milne,
Yes.
Serrano.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you very much. With that, we're going to move on to item number 9, which is ordinances and resolutions not relating to hearings. Looks like we have 2 items, A and B. Item A is resolution number 4598, change order number 9, process water reuse facility phase 2 construction contract with Tapani. This is going to go again to Miss Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Tonight we are talking about our PWRF Phase 2 project. And we're going to advance the slide. Thank you. This project is nearly complete. If you remember, this is the project that expanded our storage capacity within the facility. We incorporated 3 new ponds and associated pumping and pipelines to allow for the movement of effluent between the different ponds. As part of the construction, it was identified that there was need for additional monitoring wells that allow us to monitor water quality in the surrounding of the facility. And the location for those wells was identified as we were performing our facility plan, which is in the process of getting approved. And with the opportunity of having these wells being incorporated in the project and being financed through a low-interest loan for the Department of Ecology, we have seek a dollar amount from our contractor to perform those well drillings within the project. And so this is what we're presenting to you tonight. And I will slide. The project overall is a just under $32 million project. We have had some change orders, which you've seen many of those related to changes in weirs and valving connections and some controls. And the change order in front of you today is for a maximum amount of $407,537. So just under $408,000. For a total contract amount of $33 million. So I'm going to advance the slide and go into detail of where those different wells are located. So there are 10 wells proposed. 6 of those are very close to where the ponds are being installed and where we have installed some of the earthwork that has been dirt that has been moved from the location of those for those ponds. So those first 6 wells are anticipated to be approved by Ecology with minor processes. There are 4 that we are yet unsure whether they're going to be approved to be included or not, but we're moving this approval forward with you tonight, and should we have to make revisions, we will come back for the modified change order. In any case, it would be a lesser amount than what we're asking for approval tonight. These wells are, as I explained, they're specifically to monitor the quality of the groundwater to ensure that groundwater movement from north of the facility towards the south is of similar quality, so that we are not providing any negative impact to the water quality. And again, this is the cost for drilling those 10 wells. Our contractor has provided a dollar amount that has no markups from their sub. So we have negotiated that change order and we recommend approval. I'm happy to answer questions. There's some
Thank
of the
you.
detail there, but yes, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Mr. Prowse?
Yeah, thank you. How deep are the wells going down?
So there's a combination of shallow and deeper wells. I believe the deeper wells are in the order of 300 feet, but I would have to confirm that. The shallow ones are much, much shallower. So there are two levels of static water. There's an aquifer that is much, much deeper, and then there's a surface level water that is from runoff from nearby irrigation, and we are ensuring that the quality of water in both those two levels of water are remaining unchanged as it crosses through our facility, so that our activities in the facility are not negatively impacting the water quality in the ground.
So was this initiated by the Department of Ecology? Are they the ones approving the facility plan?
They are
Okay.
approving the facility plan, and it's part of our hydrogeologic monitoring, which is required for land application.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prowse. Seeing no further lights, Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 4598, authorizing the city manager to execute change order number 9 with Tapani Incorporated for the process water reuse facility phase 2 winter storage improvements project.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Manel. Sorry, combine your names there. Motion by Mr. Milne, second by Ms. Blaisdell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, that passes unanimously. That'll move us along to item B, which is resolution number 4599, approving 2025 to 2027 collective bargaining agreement with Pasco Police Officers Association, or PPOA, uniformed employees, by Ms. Mattson. Take it away.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. We are here tonight to present to discuss the 2025-2027 PPOA, or Pasco Police Officer Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. I'm here with Sergeant James Thompson, the second vice president and lead negotiator for the Pasco Police Officer Association. The agenda report already in your packet provides a detailed overview of the successor CBA, including the negotiated economic terms and contract updates for 2025 and through 2027. We met and we bargained in good faith, and the result is a fair and sustainable contract that balances the operational needs of the city with recognition of the service and dedication of our police officers and sergeants. That said, the credit for reaching this deal truly belongs to Sergeant Thompson and the association. His leadership, steady communication, and commitment to problem solving were instrumental in moving negotiations forward and ultimately securing ratification. With that, I recommend council approve and adopt the 2025-2027 agreement, and I'd now like to hand it over to Sergeant Thompson for anything further. You're welcome.
Oh, thanks. I really wasn't expecting to talk tonight. The agreement we came to really kind of speaks to the future of the department and where the city's going. We had a couple items in there that really focused on getting longevity for guys. It's important to stay competitive in our beginning wages, but those longevity wages, the longer guys have been here, it's important to keep them here. At the end of the day, we've really, one of the thoughts is, cash will bring people in, but the culture keeps them. So we've got both of that, I think, with this. So.
Thank you. And I apologize, I didn't acknowledge you earlier, Sergeant.
Sorry.
You weren't listed on as a co-presenter. But I'm grateful that you're here, because I think it shows that it was a dual-headed effort. Is that everything for the presentation?
Yeah, that's everything.
All right, with that, Mr. Graham, I see you're late.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Ms. Mattson for, yes, she gave a lot of credit to Sergeant Thompson, who I'm sure deserves a lot of it, but also appreciate the leadership she's shown since coming on as our Human Resources Director. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, love you guys. I did have kind of a question. I was hoping you kind of work us through a little bit of the math. I notice it comes in at, as far as when you do the math, it says like 3% increase, and then it says, the next couple of years 2 to 4%. But when you look at the number, like for 2025, it shows 735,000, and then it jumps down considerably in 2026, 2027. Can you kind of, was there like bonuses or something I really didn't catch? I just kind of see what the big difference was.
So for years 2 and 3, it's kind of hard to work. It's a guesstimate because it's based on CPI. So it's, again, like anywhere from 2 to 4. So I believe, and I don't have my finance team here, but I believe they kind of took in the middle and averaged it out. The main cost, why it's the bigger cost, is year 1 has the big longevity. So the longevity hits in year 1, and also the deferred comp hits in year 1. So that's why you see a higher number in the first year.
Okay. Well, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Trying to see, hey, maybe my mouth's not on, but thank you for that.
Yep. Unfortunately, we won't know what CPI is until June, so.
Thank you, Mr. Milne. Mr. Perales.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the questions I had was, there's a 6.25% retroactive pay. How is that impacting the 2024 budget? According to you, maybe to your finance team, was that already accounted for? Because we're going to have to go back and pay that?
We'll have to pay from January of 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then never mind.
We're not that far behind.
Very good. Thank you.
Then I'll just add some of that was budgeted for, so it was anticipated there'd be an increase.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, Mr. Milne.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 4599, approving the 2025-2027 collective bargaining agreement with the Pasco Police Officers Association uniform employees, and further authorize the interim city manager to execute the agreement.
Second.
I'll give that one to Ms. Barajas. So Mr. Milne made a motion, seconded by Ms. Barajas. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, that too passes unanimously. Thank you for your time. This moves us into item number 10, single item listed, item A, which is it's an executive session. Discussion with legal counsel about current or potential litigation under Revised Code of Washington 42.30.110, subsection 1, Roman numeral 1 or I. Topic A. That's listed for 30 minutes. City attorney, city manager, anyone else?
Let's say that's an estimate. Oh, sorry. Let's say that's an estimate and maybe go with 20 and we can extend it.
Okay, so we want to go 20?
Yeah.
Okay, and then personnel, it's just the two of you or anyone else?
No, police chief, the building official, the CD director, and is that it?
Yep. Okay, so with that, it's a 20-minute exec session. We're going to start at 8:04, taking us to 8:24 with the city attorney, city manager, community economic development director, building official, and chief of police, I believe.
Yes.
All right, so be back at 8:24. It is 8:34. We have adjourned from executive session. That rolls us into number 11, which is unfinished business. That's single item A, which is roadside vendors, street corner, and city's authority to control unlicensed vendors. We got City Attorney Ferguson, who's going to present some information to us. Thank you, City Attorney.
Great, thank you, Mayor. So recently there's been an uptick, and folks have been, discussing the issue with relation to the folks that are, defined as street vendors. But we'll walk through a couple of nuances here so that you all can. So essentially, one of the things that we're trying to struggle with is a lot of the folks who are selling, selling other produce, other items, vegetables, berries, eggs, they are exempted under state law. Excuse me. Sorry, I think I'm out of order here. Sorry about that. That started in a different spot. All right, just one second here.
Having a Jack Nicholson moment on me?
Yeah.
The court's out of order?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm trying to figure out which one we're at here. Sorry about that. Okay, so essentially what we're trying to do is figure out a way that folks can try to manage the folks that are selling a lot of the produce and lots of folks that are on street corners around town. One of the things that's been difficult to understand is that there is an exemption under state law, which is mentioned right here, about fruits, vegetables, and eggs and berries. Let's see here. Let's move forward. Let's see. We have our code PMC 575040, which specifically exempts for mobile vendors. It exempts persons who are selling fruits, vegetables, and eggs and it mentions the previous PMC that we talked about earlier. And then trying to move through. I'm trying not to drag us through all the nuances here I planned on. So these are mobile vendors which conduct business outside of a fixed real property. So that's one of the issues that we're having is that folks are they are moving around town. They're in locations and they're on sides of the sidewalk. Let's see, moving through here. Let's see. These are some of the other requirements that mobile vendors that have are based on if they engage in business activity. These are some of the requirements that they have to comply with to make sure that they have are properly licensed. So the key is that in this distinction, the mobile vendors that we're talking about that normally are selling other types of items other than these produce items that have been inquired about they are heavily, or we're able to regulate those much more efficiently than folks that are engaged in folks that are selling fruit and vegetables and those other things along the right-of-ways. So let's see here, moving through. What do we have? So these are some of the other requirements that are mandatory for folks who are going to be selling other items other than the produce that we previously mentioned. Let's see, what else here? So these are some of the other strict requirements related to folks that are selling things other than the produce that we're able to monitor and we're able to enforce. So these are things that are much more easily enforceable with regard to other items than the produce and the fruit and vegetables. So moving through there, and then these are just some of the zoning restrictions that are required, as well as some of the other standards with regard to the 3-foot pedestrian clear zone that we're able to enforce. And then finally, some of the discussion has been related to whether these are actually sidewalk sales or whether these are actually mobile vendors. And one of the things that's clear is that public sidewalk sales would be required to have a permit. So as we discussed previously, one of the concerns or one of the issues that we're having is that we can't require the license for the folks that are doing that are selling the produce, but we can for folks who are engaged in the activity related to things that are other than that. So if they're selling some other kind of merchandise along the right-of-way. So let's see here. So these are some of the violations that we can utilize for folks that are selling things other than the produce. Let's see here. And then these are some of the requirements that Richland has related to some of their code is very similar to what we do, as well as Kennewick, some of the requirements that they have, which also are specific related to other items other than produce. So with that, that's just a little bit of a general overview. Sorry I got out of order there. I didn't see we didn't have the first slide. But the long and short of it is what we are really trying to do is figure out a way specifically to regulate folks who are going to be either in the right-of-way, which would include the sidewalk area, that are selling produce that are not necessarily going to fall under our mobile vending code provisions. So we're trying to find a way to understand. We know that with the exception that the state law has and that we have in our code, that they are not able to, or we're not able to force them to be licensed if they're only selling that produce. But one of the problems that we're having is figuring out where what regulations do we still have for the city to be able to come up with related to folks that are in that right of way. So being on private property, clearly that if they have the permission of the property owner, they're allowed to do that. If they're going to be in the right of way along the sidewalks, that's something that we could potentially be able to start to find a way to regulate that and be able to try to find a way to better enforce it, because I think folks are getting concerned that it's becoming a safety issue and it's becoming an issue where folks are, it's kind of gotten out of control and it's in a lot of places. So with that, I think, did you want?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, I think good opportunity for our code enforcement officer, building official to come up, as well as police chief, and talk a little bit about their role in this. This is really kind of a three-part thing. You heard a good presentation by the city attorney of what we can and can't do, and then these are the folks that kind of can enforce things, and where they can enforce has a pretty bright line. So to ask both of them to be here tonight.
Okay, I drew the short straw here, so I'll begin. So I'm going to tell you what I can do. So in the next few days, I will be hiring a temporary service to help out, driving around, educating the individuals that are out on the street corners. You know, it's health and safety. That's our biggest thing. So that's what we're going to focus on, making sure that there's good clearance so people can walk by. We're not at the intersections. We're not going into the traffic. I mean, that's my main concern right now, is obviously not to have any accidents or anything worse than that. So those are the things that we are going to do until we get back with Mr. Ferguson and we get a better big game plan. Chief?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Council. And from the police standpoint, public safety's our focal point as well. So sidewalks, making sure that there is the ability for people to move up and down the sidewalk without going out into the roadway being obstructed. Absent that, they can certainly stand there. That's not an area that we'd have concern from. And then private property, where they are on a business or on somebody's property and they don't want them there, regardless of what the circumstances are, we can trespass them or ask them to leave for trespass ordinances. Businesses can certainly regulate who is on their right of way as well. So that kind of limits where we are. Questions that we can answer?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I do my best to wrap a bow on this to make sure we're all on the same line. Then I'll have other council members weigh in. So from what I hear from the city attorney, Olympia, the state legislature, through the code that you brought up, it was, I believe, RCW, Revised Code of Washington 36.71, has preempted or limited the city's authority to exclude these people. In other words, we can't force them into licensing. We can't say you can't do this, correct? Except.
That is correct.
Except if they are, you know, what we're going to call a dangerous situation, which is impeding right away, the sidewalk, etc. We may have enforcement authority there that's outside of that preempted authority. So the city may have the ability to regulate those in the right of way who are selling, specifically as Chief and Mr. and Troy Henderson, right? Hendren. I'm so sorry. I know it's been 8 years. I'm an idiot. Troy. That's why I'm calling him Troy. And Troy have mentioned our primary concern being health and safety. So I want to be clear here. To the extent that the city is limited, you know, this is an opportune time to, although legislative session's out of session, if you have concerns about these issues, lobby your local legislators and seek some sort of modification to the bill. Again, it's Revised Code of Washington 36.71, I believe, .090, which says, you know, you can't limit the sales of those folks who are unlicensed. There are other health concerns that, you know, we can't even touch here, let alone just blocking, you know, possibly running into traffic, you know, someone taking a corner too tight, or someone even running up onto a curb. But what Chief did say is, let's say a business or an individual desires to remove these folks from their parking lot or wherever they may be selling. That's certainly a question for the Chief, and he and his staff will address that. And Mr. Hendren, sorry about that, Troy, I'm not going to live that down, is bringing on some additional folks. Are you going to be able to provide any written materials, or is it going to be just more of a verbal exchange? Okay, well, excellent. I think hopefully that makes the mud somewhat less muddy. I think we had hoped maybe there would be additional resources that the city could provide, but we are limited again by Olympia and our legislature. So if you've got a question or concern, raise it there. With that, I saw Mr. Paralysis light go on first, so I'll go there and then back to you, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to City Attorney Ferguson for that presentation and stuff. And I thought maybe for once Olympia would do us a favor, but I didn't get that lucky today. No, I think overall, again, myself and the many people on this dais, we value the entrepreneurial spirit of these individuals who want to come out and make a buck and provide for their families. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. Even sell produce. I think about all the people who have brick and mortar businesses that pay permits, they pay taxes. They're not sitting there on Road 68 blocking traffic. And so I just implore people, if that is happening, they're blocking traffic and there's a chance they're going to cause an accident, please just call PD, call the city. There's places where they can do this. The Lowe's parking lot, I honestly don't have a problem with that. That's probably not the biggest issue in the world, but blocking traffic on 20th, in my opinion, also just right around the corner by my house, literally on 44 in Burden, just sitting there on the sidewalk in a residential neighborhood just doesn't really make any sense. But we're not trying to shut these people out, but there's a better way to do this, and we've made it extremely easy to be a mobile vendor in the city of Pasco with the changes that have happened in the last year. We value that. That's our culture, and so just I hope we can make an impact on there. I hope you guys can make contact with these individuals, let them know there's places to do this. Farmers Market opens up next week. There you go. There's places to sell produce, and so hopefully we can get these people the places where they can do that safely, and so we're not impacting people's quality of life here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prowse. Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I concur with almost everything Councilmember Perales said, nearly word for word. I would just add most all the feedback I've heard that is concerned from the public is in regard to, just the placement of this. I think about 20th and Lewis, I think about 68 and Burden. Those are places, we have a city have placed red light cameras because they're such dangerous intersections already. And yet, if I'm going to be setting up a lemonade stand or something like that, I'm going to go to the most high traffic area possible too. But, that is further creating a safety issue where we have cameras there in the first place because we know that it's a dangerous place. And so I think that's really the overwhelming sentiment from the community is just the congestion, the safety, and just the bad things that can happen from setting up in those places. And I realize, as the mayor has said, that Olympia and all of their wisdom has made this as difficult as possible for us. But I agree with Mr. Perales that, I do appreciate people trying to hustle some money and everything like that, but we are a nation of laws and we need order, and we have to have safety, health and safety, like Mr. Hendren brought up. And so again, I appreciate you hiring at least some temporary staff to while we're seeing an influx of this, and really just all both of you guys do as far as trying to keep the peace in our community, I guess I should say. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further lights, thank you, all three of you, for the presentation. I think the fundamental question here is, Mr. Ferguson, do we have the ability to move forward, or do you guys need some time to research to determine what can and can't be done to our existing code?
Sure. Yeah, I think really what it comes down to is we have the question narrowed, which is to what extent can the city do anything with regard to regulation of the accepted, for lack of a better way to describe it, activity of selling produce and other items in the right of way. So that's really the key is that nuance of what can the city actually do with regard to where this activity takes place along the right of ways on the sidewalk. So that should be a pretty straightforward analysis, but we'll do our best to turn that around and try to get you some answers with an update next week, but 2 weeks for sure.
Okay, then it sounds like we can anticipate either a presentation or a memo over the next course of the week, and maybe we'll put it on for action if such action is appropriate the 19th. Sound good? Done. I see Mr. Ferguson head nodding. Mr. Zabel again? Okay, cool. All right, seeing no further lights on that issue, I'm going to move on to item number 12, which is new business. Seeing none listed, unless Mr. Zabel's got anything to pop in. Nope. That turns us into 13, which is miscellaneous discussion, update on park design standards. Not sure who's presenting that one.
I'm gonna flip that to Jesse in a second, but I just wanted to mention Cinco de Mayo. We had a very cold start to the day. And, but I think a good turnout on the parade, as well as certainly at the event downtown. But asked Director Rice not only talk a little bit about design standards, but also to share with council some of the statistics, some of the metrics by which we measure the event in terms of number of entrants in the parade, number of attendees, those type of things. And I will mention, I've been to, I did miss last year, but I've been to probably the last 10 or 12 of these, and this event was definitely the most organized that we've had. Matter of fact, I'll share this. My wife noted on Thursday or Friday that I was pretty calm considering Cinco de Mayo was coming up, and I said, "Oh, that's because Jesse's running it." But yeah, staff did a great job. The assistant city manager oversaw a lot of it as well, so I want to give some credit to the leadership. And then we had a lot of staff volunteer, not volunteer, they clearly were paid, a lot of them, but some of them were shifting their time as well. But a lot of staff took their Saturday out, braved the rain, the wind, the cold, and helped get information about the city out and greet the public, as well as shuttle people over to the tent we had where we're getting input on Peanuts Park North. So similar to what we did several years ago for the bigger Peanuts Park redesign, we wanted to have an opportunity for some organic input from the folks that are using our downtown. And the difference this time is they actually had a vision to look at, whereas before it was, well, the folks remember what Peanuts Park looked like. So a lot of folks were really excited to talk about what could happen up in the north part of the park. So with that, Director Rice.
Thank you for covering that initial information. So yeah, I'll go ahead and start with Cinco. But yeah, despite the weather not cooperating, our staff partners and sponsors were able to hold a pretty successful event. We had over 60 plus parade entries with either more than 100 horses or more than 300 horses. I'm not sure if we switched from bodies to legs or something, but somehow I've got two different reports. But at least there's 100 horses. There might have been 300. We're not sure yet. So, but in addition to that, we had the Charo dancing, youth boxing, kids zones, youth entertainment, bands, and a whole lot more. Already received a lot of positive comments about having multiple stages or activities going on at the same time. That way folks could participate in what they want to do, shift around. So I think we'd like that as well. Vendor-wise, we had over 70 vendors, including 10 PSK clients, which is a very high number, but most of those right outside the main area there in front of the stage were PSK vendors. So we appreciate those being out. I think overall it was a great event, as City Manager Zabel noted. I'd like to say big thanks to both our staff and our sponsors for helping the community events great. Also a shout out to our Recreation Manager, Brent Kabalik, who walked over 43,000 steps between setup and breakdown, beating my last year's Saturday total by 4,000 steps. So we're looking forward to Fiery Foods to see who comes out on top of that again. So I think those wondering what that is, I think Brent told me it's a little over 17 miles. So we're getting in the marathon area for those events. So and these again aren't done alone. I appreciate the recognition, but yeah, we have not just recreation staff, but it takes police and fire and parks and public works staff to make all those events turn out great. So I appreciate the time to share that with you. Moving on to the two other updates I have. There's actually two updates, one on park standards and one on boulevard standards, both very similar projects. But first on the boulevard standard project. This project is initiated to update and formalize the current traditional tree and grassline boulevard style that we've used for many years. As well as create a second hardscape or water conservation style concept for adoption and use in development or replacement of existing boulevards. So currently we've hired a consultant, McKay Esposito, to work with staff, and they're currently working on collecting information and creating initial hardscape concepts, which will be shared for review and input at a soon to be scheduled community input session. So that will be coming up soon. We'll make that announcement. And then the second project is again similar, but it's for park design standards. The city has maintained a set of construction standards related to parks, which has specified types of irrigation materials or trees that would be used for parks and boulevards, but has lacked specific park design standards, which allow for easy to understand development needs and ensure equitable park development throughout the community. So in this case, we've contracted with MIG, who recently completed our 6-year Parks Rec and Open Space Plan to help develop a set of standards that will be used by both development community and internal city projects as we look at replacing some of our 20-plus-year-old parks. Like the boulevard standards, consultants working with staff to collect existing data, has visited many of our current parks and is working on creating draft specifications based off those used by other organizations as a starting point for 2 upcoming community outreach meetings. The first outreach would be for park users to gather ideas and what we think we should be using, and then a second for developers to garner their input as well. So, and again, once for both projects, once the data is collected and merged into the draft reports, council will be presented with a draft plan for comments and direction towards final standards. So we look to do that hopefully in the next 4 to 6 months. But as you're aware, we're running a lot of projects right now through various things. So including the Peanuts Park one that City Manager Zabel mentioned. So working towards all those, and we should be announcing and promoting the community input sessions for both very soon and get those projects moving forward. Any questions on either of those I can get for you tonight and follow up for?
I don't see any.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, do we have any miscellaneous discussion from council? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item 14, which is our executive session. We do have 2 items listed, A and B. The first one is a discussion with legal counsel about current or potential litigation under Revised Code of Washington 42.30.110 subsection 1 Roman numeral 1 or I. The third topic, item B, is to consider the minimum offering price. That first one is for 10 minutes. The item B is to consider the minimum offering price for sale or lease of a real estate. There's likelihood the disclosure would decrease the price under Revised Code of Washington 42.30.110 subsection 1. Letter C, that's 5 minutes, so it's a total of 15 minutes. Do we need a break ahead? Let's do 5 minutes. That'll take us to 9:03. 15 minutes, we'll be back at 9:18. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah.
We do need to disclose, because we are going in for setting, sorry,
That's
Mr.
right.
Officer. So we are going into set minimum price, so we need to discuss the factors, which would be price, location, and buyer. So I just want to make sure that's clear for the record.
All right, price, location, and buyer, the reasons for item C, or item B, item 3, I don't know, all sorts of numbers here and letters. The last thing we're talking about. So, be back at 9:18. Thank you. It is 9:23. We are out of executive session with no more business to conduct. We are adjourned for the night. Thank you for joining us.